I'm worried this is going to become wrapped in rain inside that cone. And that's what I'm talking about. It's getting wrapped in rain. Bobby Payne, give us an update.
We have a very dangerous situation now that has unfolded. Looks like a very large tornado now is on the ground. I'm seeing a satellite funnel cloud 3/4 of the way to the ground just on the west side of the main circulation. So this is going to be a multiple vortex tornado with one large tornado and satellite tornadoes as it's looks like it's getting huge.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to get really slammed really hard with the rain, so I'm going to have to move back to you, David.
Okay. All right. Get out of the way. Good job, Bobby. Stay safe. This is Val's shot right up, looking at it there. And there's one funnel over here to the left. And there's Bobby Payne's shot looking right at it. And this whole thing is a tornado. This is a multiple vortex tornado. Okay, hang on. There's a cone here, small funnel here that's actually been to the ground a couple of times. And look how the rain curtains, they look like they're doing this to you. They look like they're doing this. Well, they're not. The back side is going back to the south, and the front side is coming up around. And, okay, look at the wind right here. Okay, what's that? All right, let's go to Val. Val, go ahead. Give us an update.
Okay, David, just like Bobby was saying, we have a satellite tornado. Actually, this is a multiple vortex tornado. I would say that we're getting a circulation here is probably at least 1/4 of a mile wide and growing, maybe 1/3 of a mile wide. Matter of fact, at our location, we're just south of it, and we're getting inflow easily 80 miles an hour. I can see debris in the air from inflow. As a matter of fact, a part of the roof of this oil location here, this refinery or whatever it is, got ripped off right in front of us, and that was just from the inflow to the tornado. So the circulation is huge. It's getting bigger. It's a multiple vortex, and it doesn't show any signs of lifting, David.
All right, good job. And Val, keep her shot there just a second. Here's the right side of the rotating rain curtains. Here's the left side, and this whole area is spinning, and we're getting little vortices inside this, okay? We're getting little vortices inside this. This is headed towards Bridge Creek. This is headed towards what could be Newcastle and eventually Moore and Norman, all right? The way it's going right now. And right now, this is going to be a fairly large area, fairly large tornado with, again, vortices coming out of, if you will, the mothership, okay? So this big area is spinning, and we're getting these vortices to come down. And if you're underneath this, it's one of those deals where you get something going by your house, and it may miss your house, but right across the street, you get hit, all right? Let's go to Storm Shield. Let's quickly go to Storm Shield here. Take it full screen. I want to show you how impressive this hook is on radar. Look at the hook. That's where Val is. That's where the tornado is, and not quite a debris ball yet because we don't have enough debris in the air, but you can easily see where the hook is. Val now is right there. Bobby Payne's right here. He's trying to make his way back east. And again, this is going to go right up I-44. Bridge Creek, you need to get ready. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 miles now southwest of Bridge Creek. It's moving at about 15 to 20 miles per hour. Tornado just about on top of I-44. If the OHP has not stopped traffic, do we know yet? Have they stopped traffic on I-44? They need to stop traffic on I-44. It's going to cross I-44. If it's not going to miss it by much. Need to stop traffic on I-44, at least north and east of this. From anybody entering I-44 from Oklahoma City, they need to stop traffic now from I-44 down to Chickasha. They need to stop it, okay? Need to stop traffic on I-44 right now. All right, there's where the tornado is. You can clearly see the hook. Here's Newcastle. Here's Newcastle, the casino. Right there, there's Bridge Creek. It's going to go just about on top of Bridge Creek. And I'm looking at their streams. Go ahead, what? Let's go to Storm Track. Let's go to, let's take a look at Storm Track here. Let's put this in. There we go. Look at that. Wow. And again, this is what we call a screaming eagle. And it looks like the wings of an eagle with the beak. All right, there we go. Let's go to Val Castor. Tornado on the ground again. Val, go ahead.
Okay, David, the tornado is on I-44, and the tornado is moving very, very slowly, hardly at all. We're just south of the tornado, and we're getting 90-mile-an-hour inflow winds. We just saw the shed ripped off, the roof ripped off of a shed right in front of us here. This is a very, very dangerous situation. If you're on I-44, I'm telling you what, you're in danger right now. And this tornado is not moving fast at all. It's almost stationary, I would say.
Right.
And we're getting, good night, we're getting inflow at least 90 miles an hour, David.
Tornado's right here. And like you said, Val, now it's becoming a more dangerous tornado because it's becoming wrapped in rain. But looks, he's got inflow of 50 to 60 to 70 miles an hour. That's just inflow. That's not the tornado. This is what's flowing into the tornado, and the tornado's right back in here on the right side. So this is now becoming a dangerous tornado and potentially could become a deadly tornado. Okay, this thing is getting larger and it's strengthening. Val will keep tracking it. And boy, he's just right in the middle of it. Let's go to Storm Shield. And let's go back to Storm Shield here. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's take Storm Shield. Okay, here we go. Yeah, oh, wow, we've got problems. We've got problems here. Velocity data, we've got 108 miles per hour away from the radar and 150 towards the radar. That's 150 mile per hour shear. 150. Oh, there you go. You found a 60. All right, we're at 160. Okay, so there's a chance that we have possibly the tornado possibly in strength of an EF2. Maybe an EF3. Maybe an EF3. We might have an EF3 tornado wrapped in rain right now, okay? The velocity data, look at that, folks. Look at that. That is amazing, all right? That is amazing. It's coming right down I-44. It's moving northeast. It's coming right down the H.E. Bailey. I can't say it enough. We need to stop somebody, OHP, whoever, stop traffic on I-44. Do not travel from the H.E. Bailey Turnpike gate down.
David, so north of Blanchard needs to be in a safe spot as well.
And that's what we were saying earlier. This thing wobbles like an eye of a hurricane. Remember, you draw it on a state map. Where'd that tornado go today? Well, it was basically northeast. Well, you get down to this kind of detail, this kind of what I call precision storm chasing, precision warning, down to the mile by mile, and it wobbles like an eye of a hurricane, all right? It's just fluid. And this thing has wobbled more today, but it's not that unusual, okay? It's not. And what it's doing now is it's turned more easterly, and it's trying to make more of an easterly push, but what happens is it'll make a turn east, and then it'll snake back to the north. It'll turn back to the north. So if you live in Blanchard, you need to go to your safe spot right now. Tornado warning now for McLean County, for Cleveland County. If you live in Newcastle, you need to go to your safe spot. If you live in Bridge Creek right now, Bridge Creek, you're in heavy rain. You're in some hail. In Bridge Creek, the hail core is just to the north of Bridge Creek. But look at this. Look at there. That is a spin for sure. There's Middleburg. Bobby Payne's down here. And, again, this thing is, again, going to be moving almost due east right now. It's moving almost due east. Well, have you turned our live radar on, the velocity data?
Yep.
Does it look okay?
It needs to get a little closer.
Okay. We've got it in a high res mode, and it's got to be a little bit closer. But nonetheless, yeah, here's what's going on right now with that. Okay, so tornado on the ground. Let's go back to velocity data here. And Newcastle, and again, river wind, Norman, Lloyd Noble, everybody that lives in Norman, this thing, again, it could make a hard right turn. It's trying to right now. It's trying to right now. Look at the couplet. Look at what we call a couplet, where we have the shear. That's where the tornado is. The red is moving away from the radar beam. The green is headed towards the radar beam. And right now, it's about 100 right there and about 150. So this is going to be a fairly large size tornado. It's going to be wrapped in rain. It's been wrapped in rain. We can see
Bridge Creek, the eye is over the Bailey. It looks like a hurricane with feeder bands going into it. That's what large, violent tornadoes look like on radar. This is from our South Doppler radar, which is in the direct path of it, looking at it from 5 miles away. So Chopper has damage. Uh-oh, bad damage. Let's take Bob Moore Chopper 4 live. There's significant damage here. John, go. We're just now dialing him in. This is northeast of Chickasha. And this is when it was probably multi-vortex a while ago. This strikes home as to what we're dealing with right here. Go, John Welsh.
Yeah, Mike, this is just going to be right just northeast of the airport, maybe half a mile. You can see that mobile home is completely destroyed, or I believe that it was a mobile home just right there by the airport in Chickasha. That's all the damage that we saw. We're just now obviously lifting off for gas. We're going to try and get around and get back in front of this storm here, Mike.
Okay, John's got a full tank of gas here. What he did, he's touched down at the Chickasha airport, came back up, and this is northeast of Chickasha. That's what he has. He thinks that's a mobile home. This is why mobile homes are not safe, because it doesn't take it doesn't take a violent tornado to do that to a mobile home. And that's why we encourage you, if you're in a mobile home, to evacuate that mobile home and go to a safe spot. Even F1, F2s can do damage that looks like that, and that is an obliteration of what appears to be a mobile home. Northeast of Chickasha. John just took off from the Chickasha airport. Whose stream is that?
That's Mike Bennett.
Let's go to Mike Bennett. Tornado on the ground up by Lahoma. Mike Bennett, go.
Yeah, Mike, this is actually south of Mino. It's going to be, I think it's going to be about a mile south of Mino. And we've got this one, and we've got another area that could produce a tornado between Mino and Lahoma. I'm going to say that area rotation is really tight, localized spinning, and it's probably about halfway between Mino and Lahoma, south of Highway 412. And then we have this rotation right here. We was actually repositioning to, stay on the east mesocyclone. And then
this is 11 miles to the west of Enid is where this is. It's over by Mino, not too far from Lahoma. That is a tornado on the ground. You folks in Lahoma, tornado safety precautions right now. Might even be potential multi-vortex tornado. This is west of Enid, northwest of Oklahoma City by about 75 miles. Western Garfield County, far eastern Major County. Could be a significant tornado right there. Let's go over to the storm tracker, and we're going to go to this larger tornado. Look at this. This is a bad presentation. Bad presentation here. Newcastle, Blanchard. Okay, so here's the county line right here. It looks like it'll probably go just south of Bridge Creek. The eye of the tornado just passed over the Bailey Turnpike. It is about a mile wide in terms of the rotating rain curtains. Inside of that is a multi-vortex tornado with an eye. And that is a significant tornado. We don't want to throw around the word violent too much, but Hank Baker's used the word violent, and it's about time to really continue to use that word violent. So I think we're talking about F3 plus tornado here. Let's go back over to either, who do we have, Hank Baker or Mark Dillard? Let's go. Who do we have?
Mike, this is Hank.
Go, Hank.
The tornado path crossed the turnpike. There is damage. There's damaged cars on the turnpike. There's debris all over the turnpike, and that would be located exactly 5 to 6 miles east of Amber. 5 to 6 miles east of Amber. There's a lot of damage. There's telephone poles down with power lines on the turnpike. I just saw a car running down the turnpike and ran right into the power pole, Mike. And I can visually see a large wide path as I'm coming in on the south side of the circulation. It is still a large, broad, wide circulation, and it is rotating extremely fast. This is a violent situation. It's looking to me like the tornado width is about a half a mile, and it's becoming more defined right now, Mike. It looks like it's just off to the east of the turnpike. I've got damage for buildings laying in the turnpike. I've got looks like an overturned 18-wheeler on the turnpike, and that would be just south of East-West Road 1250. That's going to put us damaged 18-wheeler that flipped on its side, blocking the highway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're about 7 miles east and northeast of Amber. We still, Mike, this is a large tornado.
Yes.
I've got a visual now. It is extremely wide. This to me, and I don't like to use this phrase, but it looks like May 3rd stuff. And this is rapid rotation. It looks like almost the El Reno day that we had. So I'm going to send it back to you and keep a close eye on this, Mike.
Stay with us, Hank. And folks, again, this is by far the most important information we passed along all day. Hank Baker's, he's been tornado chasing a lot. He's seen a lot of tornadoes. And I would agree. I'm showing F4 intensity winds now from the South Dop, and the South Dop is only a couple of miles away from it. And this
east and getting closing in on it right now, but I'm telling you, man, there is some really heavy rain in front of this. We got flooding down in Chickasha. When we came around there was flooding in Chickasha. So again, this is dropping a tremendous amount of rain along with the cloud to ground lightning, but you can see it right there, David. It was on the ground when we broke out of the rain there just for a little bit. I can't tell if it's on the ground or if it's wrapped up in the rain. I believe it's wrapped up in the rain right now. So this is a very dangerous tornado as it takes this track almost identical to May 3rd, 1999 here, David.
Okay. All right, Jim, hang on. Stay with it here. Let's go back to radar. Real quick, there's the right side of the tornado. It's crossing I-44 right now. This is going to be a tornado emergency for you folks not only in Blanchard, but if you live in Blanchard or north of Blanchard, up to Bridge Creek. I still think Bridge Creek, to me, it looks like it's made another left turn.
It has.
It's made another left turn.
Bridge Creek is not out of the woods yet.
Blanchard, it might completely miss you, but tornado emergency now for eastern Grady County, and again for northwestern and far western McLean County. Newcastle, the Newcastle Casino. All right.
David, the Newcastle Casino and Riverwind have both put people in shelters.
Okay.
They're taking tornado precautions.
Okay, they are. Okay, both casinos are now putting people in shelters, and that's great news. Look what it looks like. It's wrapped in rain. It's a complete donut in the sky with a tornado inside, wrapped in rain. You can see it in Jim's shot here. That's what it looks like right now. It's wrapped in rain.
Hank has an update.
All right, Hank, go ahead. Let's take Hank's shot full screen.
Our shot. I don't know that it's that big, but we could very possibly have a half to 3/4 mile wide tornado wrapped in rain on the ground right now, just west of my location. I can't see the full tornado. I did see the back edge, and it's at least a half a mile south of the shot that Jim is showing you and that Patty is showing you right there. If you zoom that out, Patty, a half mile, that's where I just saw the back edge of this tornado. It's very possible, folks, very possible we could have a very large rain-wrapped tornado, David, right now.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's go back to velocity data. Hank Brown, he's right there looking right at it. And the velocity data, as we've been saying, this is going to be, again, this is going to be a large tornado. It's been large for a while as it's been creeping up I-44. Now we've got our debris signature. This is a little icon here showing up saying we've got debris in the air, and it takes quite a bit. It means that everything in the air it's picking up is not liquid. Okay, that's it. It's not hail. It's not liquid. It's not ice. It's not water. It's not liquid at all. It's debris. Other than rain is now being lofted in the air. We have a violent tornado. What could be a violent tornado, or at least a strong tornado right now. Look at the donut hole developing. Look at the donut hole now right on I-44. And hey, guys, loop this for me real quick. Let's loop this. It's wrapped in rain. You won't see it. All right, Bridge Creek, loop it for me one more time. Bridge Creek, you're almost going to take a direct hit now. It's going to be close to Bridge Creek. If you live in Bridge Creek or south of Bridge Creek, 1, 2, 3 miles, you have got to go to your safe space, your safe place. You got to go there right now. You've got just a matter of maybe a minute. You got to go now. You have to go right now. Again, a large, violent tornado on the ground, I-44. There's Bridge Creek. There's Newcastle. There's Newcastle Casino. Blanchard. The most dangerous part now, it's missed Blanchard. It's north of Blanchard. It's made that curve again. This thing is curved left and right many, many times today, and it's doing it again. And look at the eye now. See that? See where there's not much going on inside there? That is the eye of the tornado right there. That's the eye of the tornado now.
We have the storm track on that right now.
Yeah, let's do it.
Almost due east
okay.
On Pathfinder.
All right, let's go to the, and again, let's go to Pathfinder here. Let's do a storm track on it. Not Storm Shield. Let's go to Pathfinder. And hang on. All right, here it is. And again, this might have to be brought back a little further north. Yeah, I think we need to bring this back. Okay, so let's go back to Storm Shield. Let's repair that. Let's make that a little bit further north now. Again, it's moved northeast. It's moved east. And here it is. There's the eye. That's the eye of the tornado right here. That's the center of the tornado where there's nothing going on except the whole world is just rotating around this thing. I mean, it is really some intense winds here right now. This could be potentially a very strong tornado. Guys, let's take Jim's shot full screen. I see the back edge of the tornado here. Maybe Jim doesn't see it. Take Jim. Wow, look at the data. There it is. There's the tornado. Large and violent tornado. There it is. Okay, large and violent tornado. There it is. Now it's coming out of the rain. Violent tornado that Valcaster has been on. And again, and there it is. All right, Jim, give us an update. I can see the tornado, the left side. It's going to be a large tornado. Jim, go ahead.
Well, that's right, David. Right now I'm coming up on Highway 76,
at about 310th Street here, shooting back to the northwest. You can see the backside of that large tornado wrapped in that rain right now. I think Hank is on the ground, David. I think Hank's on the ground. I think he's got a good shot of this right now, starting to get rain wrapped. So why don't we tip it over to Hank? I got emergency vehicles running all over the place down here.
Okay. All right, Jim, are you there? All right, we'll check back in with him. The backside of this violent tornado, and again, we need to be listening for any big-time damage reports. The backside of the tornado.
It might be shrinking a little bit, but it's on the east side of Bridge Creek on the Bailey at the southwest spur is where it is right now. It is heavily involved in rain, so it is heading up for Newcastle now, which puts more of the Moore area more in the path. Now, it may lift. It might go away before it gets to Moore, but this is the heads up for you folks in Moore. It's that storm cellar basement. You know, so we talked to so many folks in Moore. There's so many storm shelters in Moore that are either across the street or a half a block down the road. You know what? Now's the time to go there, and do it, please. In Moore, just go there. Stream it on your phone, take your portable radio or television, and go to the safest place that you know in the Moore area, because if it doesn't change, it's going to go through the Newcastle Casino area and Newcastle, and then it's going to come to the river in far southwest Oklahoma City and far west Moore. Still a little ways away from there, but advance warning is good warning, and this is advance warning for you to take those immediate violent tornado safety precautions. There's a tornado emergency in effect for the Southwest Metro, and if things don't change, yes, it is going into Cleveland County. And whether or not it's an F4, we don't know. But right now, we think it's a mile-wide F4. Let's go back to Bob Moore Chopper 4 here live. It's on the Bailey Turnpike. Go, John.
Yeah, Mike, right now we're over 277 here, just north of Blanchard, shooting back towards the west. And as you can see, the definition of this wedge here, it's right there in our shot. You can see the back end of it and then the front end, and that's just how wide it is. Coming straight up, like you said, the Bailey, looks like it's going to be about just a few miles northwest of Blanchard, the town proper, but continuing to track to the northeast, Mike, and it is it's a very big and violent tornado. From the backside, we're able to see some of the rotation in there, but obviously the front side is the rain. Although you can see the rain is actually starting to lighten up just in front of this thing. It has a very large feeder band, which is giving it a lot of energy and allowing it to kind of grow and continue to track to the northeast there, Mike.
Okay, it is still a violent tornado. It's been on the Bailey now for a long time. It's been on the Bailey for a long time. Take the chopper shot full, control room. Take the chopper shot full, and it is a wedge tornado. It's a wedge tornado. Look at it. It is a wedge tornado, and it's big. There's one side of it. Here's the other side of it, right here. It's a mile wide. Might be a little wider, but it's a mile wide. It's a mile wide. That power flashes, mile wide, okay. Multi-vortex tornado, power flashes. It's on the Bailey, and this is how folks get killed in these cars. It's on the Bailey Turnpike down at the Southwest Spur, and let's hope and pray there are no cars there on the Southwest Spur or the Bailey. Large multi-vortex tornado, live. Go, John.
Yeah, Mike, right now, you called it as soon as Travis said it, the power flashes. You can see the storm, the tornado, I don't know, maybe half, 3/4 of a mile, a solid 3/4 of a mile, ground contact right there. It's wrapped in rain. The rain is actually lightening up a little bit. However, in front of it, it's not looking any better because the feeder band is continuing to lower. It's continuing to get bigger, and the energy is just going to continue to be funneled in there as it continues to track to the northeast. They do have the roads shut down on 277. Troopers are out here kind of turning everybody around. So as far as 277, or I'm sorry, Highway 62 coming in to the city here, that roadway looks pretty clear at this time. But we're not sure about H.E. Bailey. We did see a lot of cars on Bailey as we were coming up the backside there, Mike.
Yeah, and it's still coming. It's still traveling up the Bailey. It's still traveling up the Bailey, and it's pretty much red line, center line now for downtown Newcastle and the Newcastle Casino. Folks, This is as serious as it gets. Newcastle Casino, Newcastle, the Bailey Turnpike. No car should be on the Bailey Turnpike. You folks in the Newcastle Casino area, all those new subdivisions in through there, this is a large 1 mile wide, at least F4 tornado. It's violent, multi-vortex. Let's go over to the South Dop and let's take a look. We'll briefly go away. Look at the sink drain. It has what we call a centrifuge effect from debris, like May 20th. The outer wall of debris is about 1.75 miles wide. The outer wall is 1.75 miles wide. The inner wall is about 3/4 mile wide, and then it has an eye that is a couple of blocks wide. And you see it because our South Doppler is right here. We're looking right at it in ultra super high resolution. The outer wall is 1 3/4, the inner wall is 3/4, and the eye is several blocks wide. There's Bridge Creek. This is the Bailey. The eye is a couple hundred yards on the northwest side of the Bailey Turnpike. Let's go to the live traffic flow on Max 1 real fast. Showing the orange area there, showing slower traffic. We don't know what that necessarily means for sure, but there's the Bailey Turnpike. But you know what? There should be no cars on the Bailey Turnpike, none. And don't go down the Bailey. Bad news. Let's go back to John Welsh and Bob Moore Chopper for tornado emergency for Newcastle and the Newcastle Casino, Bridge Creek, and the entire area around the Bailey Turnpike. Go, John.
Yeah, Mike, it's not looking any better. It's actually kind of hard to see, as you can see it right there. And our shot, the rain has really increased here and broke up a lot of the contrast that we were able to get earlier. And like you said, it's still going up the H.E. Bailey, and it's like, it's not getting any better. We know that. It's not decreasing in size, and all the ingredients that would allow it to decrease are not there. All the ingredients that are going to allow it to increase are there. So at this time, it's still a very violent, tornado tracking to the northeast. It looks like it's going to pass obviously well north and west of Highway 9 and 62 right here. They've got cars all blocked off this area. So the south side of town, it appears that you're going to be clear. However, obviously north and west of here, it's a completely different story, guys. Mike, back to you.
Okay, John, appreciate that. Go to the storm tracker here. Go to the storm tracker, and this will give you an idea. It's wobbling like the eye of a hurricane wobbles. Look at the eye. Again, this is from our South Doppler radar. There's no other radar in the Southwest Metro that you're going to see live like this. The eye, the inner eye just went away. The outer wall is about 3/4 mile to 1 mile wide, or the inner wall is rather. It looks like it's kind of going like this. It's exhaling a little bit right now. Bridge Creek on the northern side, and the band is that wall's actually on the Bailey. Okay, so here's Southwest 149th. Here's Southwest 164th. Here's the Warren Theater right here. Here's the Warren Theater. Here's South 4th or Highway 37. This is the Bailey Turnpike. There's the River Bridge. Here's the Newcastle Casino. It's red line, center line for the Newcastle Casino at about 5:30, 5:36. 5:30, 5:36. Outer wall is 1 3/4 mile wide. The inner wall is temporarily gone away. And the eye, which was a couple of blocks wide, is also temporarily gone away. That might be short-term good news. It could be short-term that it's weakening, but it is involved heavily in rain. It's involved in a lot of rain. There's a lot of rain in it. Go, John Welsh.
Yeah, Mike, right now it's actually kind of hard for us to see because of all the rain. You can see the very front of it right there where I say the feeder band is actually feeding into it. And, then you kind of lose contrast all to the rain. A couple of reasons. One, the sun is setting, and so we're losing a lot of that ambient light that we can get on the backside of it. But prior to that, I think the rain is the biggest hamper on the ability for us to see it as it continues to track to the northeast here, Mike.
Okay, John, appreciate that. Okay. You can clearly see it. Let's go to the South Doppler. It's still on the ground. Again, it's inside the rain, but we can see inside the rain with a Doppler. So here's the Newcastle Casino, here's the Bailey, and you can tell where it is. It's right here. It is weaker. It's not as strong, but it is there. It looks like it might be an F3. Again, there's the Bailey Turnpike. So the center, the core of that is just under a mile to the north of the Bailey. There's Bridge Creek. It was on the Bailey for a long time, and now it's lifted more to the north. But that's live imagery there from the South Dop, and it is still probably an F3 the way it looks. It isn't as strong as it was about 5 minutes ago. So let's hope it begins to lift. It's south of Tuttle. Tuttle's right up at the very top of the map. Let's watch the beam go through it live. And it is weakening. It's weakening, and let's hope it continues to weaken. And it is definitely lifting more to the north. So here's downtown Newcastle right here. Our South Doppler's right here. The Newcastle Casino's right there. John, it's back there in that rain. You're looking at the feeder band from your chopper shot. It's right back there in the rain.
Yeah, it is, Mike, and I'm going to give you a turn here. It's actually pretty hard to see, but that has to be the area it is, because when we continue to track behind it, we can actually see through the rain. But definitely a big, strong, heavy tornado. Here, Mike. It's really hard for us to see, though.
Okay, do we have Mark Dillard or Emily Sutton on the Gentner control room?
Yes, Mike.
Go, Mark. Mark, you're on. Go.
I just passed Highway 76 on Highway 37 coming out of Tuttle. Cut off at the turnpike there, so I had to wrap back around. I've been flying. I have no visual on it whatsoever, Mike. If it's still on a path wobbling along the turnpike here, then it's going to be affecting the Newcastle, West Newcastle area, and the area just to the east of 76. So folks in that area, take your tornado precaution right now. Mike, we're going to be to I-44 and 37 in a matter of a minute. I hope to beat it out of there and maybe catch a glimpse of it through some curtains or whatnot, but it is causing an immense amount of rain and hail out in front of it. And it's similar to the May 31st situation. We had all that rain coming down, so flooding is a concern as well, folks. You do not need to be out on the road in the Southwest Metro. Bottom line, back to you.
Okay, Mark, appreciate that. It is still on the ground, no doubt about it. Let's go to the storm tracker. Take a look. It is a little weaker, but here's more. Here's downtown Moore. And here's downtown Newcastle. It is right almost on the county line now, just past Bridge Creek, just to the north of the Bailey Turnpike. And it has so much rain involved in it that the rain is weakening it just a little bit. It has baseball-size hail in the purple coming into Moore. So another aspect is very large damaging hail. So you want to protect your property from the hail. The tornado, though, is still very much on the ground. It may not be an F4. If you have Hank Baker, let me know, or Emily Sutton, let me know, or the chopper as well. We'll look, but it is still very much still on the ground. Let's go to the velocities on the South Dop. We'll show it to you exactly where it is. And yes, it is looks like it might be more of a kind of a rope or a barrel rather than a large multi-vortex wedge, just looking at the wind, but that is a textbook circulation center of what looks like a barrel-shaped tornado. So the wind velocities could still be very strong in a barrel-shaped tornado, but it doesn't appear to be quite as big as it was before. I'd say now it's probably under a mile wide, but right? It's still a violent tornado, still large. Might be a barrel now. Hank, it's back there in the rain. It's a mile to the west of the county line, about 4 southeast of Tuttle. What do you have?
Mike, I am located 3.5 miles due west of Newcastle, and visually, we've lost visual on it for the location of it. I can report that the damage that I did see along the turnpike, even though the damage was bad, it wasn't F4, F5 damage, not to minimize what's been taking place because there are trucks turned over, etc. But the damage didn't look as bad as what I expected when I hit the damage path. I cannot visually see that large rotation anymore because of it being wrapped in the rain. I'm still on the H.E. Bailey, again, about 3.5 miles west of Newcastle, and I'm hip-hopping, trying to get into the rain without getting hit by the tornado. I'm backing up and trying to get another visual. Mike, back to you.
Okay, I've got about 200-mile-per-hour wind shear from the South Dop. It is still, I'd say it's probably a barrel sitting in there. It's about 200-mile-an-hour wind shear from the South Dop. Let's go to the South Doppler and look at it. It's probably more of a barrel now, but it's right here. It is definitely lifting more to the north. Now it's a full 1.25 miles to 1.5 miles north of the Bailey. Southeast Tuttle, so southeast Tuttle up into the river area, the river bridge, Newcastle Casino, and these subdivisions in northwest Newcastle. You folks have got to be in your very safest spot you know of. Storm cellar basement neighborhood has one. Go there. It could easily still be F3 tornado. May or may not be an F4. Hank Baker indicated damage might have been slightly less intense than what he expected based on the visual that he had, but it has produced significant and quite a bit of damage. We know that for a fact, and it has been up to a mile wide, maybe a little bit bigger than that. Let's go back over to, do we have Mark Dillard? Let's go to Emily Sutton. Go, Emily.
Hi, Mike. Yeah, back on the damage. Right after I spoke with you, we actually came upon 2 cars. This is just west of Blanchard on the Turnpike where we saw the damage. Well, 2 men actually were hit by the tornado, 2 separate cars, and they survived, but their windows were blown out. They had large tree limbs over their cars. I mean, one of the cars is totaled. The men are just covered in dirt and debris. Thank God they're safe. If I had to estimate just looking at this based on my specific location, I would say EF2 maybe, but it's really hard to tell because it's just a localized area. But yeah, people definitely impacted on the Turnpike. Very dangerous.
Okay, Emily, appreciate that. It is in the neighborhoods in southeast Tuttle right now. Let's go back to Mark Dillard, still on the ground. It's in the neighborhoods in southeast Tuttle right now. Will Rogers is evacuating the visitors and the planes at Will Rogers to a safe location. Typically, they use the underground causeway, breezeway at Will Rogers. Will Rogers is doing that right now. Will Rogers World Airport, southwest Oklahoma City. So the broader view, let's take this full here real fast. The broader view here is if things do not change for the better, what we're going to have happen is we're going to have at least a moderate strength tornado plus coming into the southwest metro. It could come into Moore. It could come into South Oklahoma City. It could come into North Norman. There's a latitude of error here because these wobble back and forth. But if it doesn't lift, there's going to be at least a medium-sized, medium-strength tornado, which we're talking F2, F3, half mile wide, you know, every place else in the world, that is a huge tornado, and it is here too, yes, but it may not be this F4, F5, at least not right now. But I tell you, the velocities, let's go, you see there's downtown Moore, here's Dale City, here's Midwest City. You see the red line, center line, we kind of average out the wobbles and take the red line, center line of the track, and that's where the red line, center line with the wobbles taken out is where it's going. And there's your time of arrival. Tornado emergency continues all of the South Metro, Southwest Metro, Indian Hill Road, Max Westheimer Airport, 539, the FAA, 540, that's Will Rogers, OCCC, Southwest Oklahoma City at 543. Let's go to the North Doppler. Look at the North Doppler and look at the velocities, and they are weakening. These velocities are weakening. I don't want to say it's lifting, but it might be lifting. It's right here just on the west side of the county line. It's in the neighborhoods in southeast Tuttle right now. So here's OCCA, and there's OCCC right there. Here's the Bailey, and here's the Bailey here. There's Bridge Creek. It's probably still on the ground. Might be an F, as Emily indicated. She thought it might be F2. Could be F2. Might even,
is in the new tornado warning.
Say that again?
Cleveland County is in the new tornado
Brand new tornado warning, Cleveland County. That's southwest Oklahoma City and more. Tornado warning now, Cleveland County. Tornado emergency, south and southwest metro. Let's go to Mark Dillard live. Mark, it's in the neighborhoods in southeast Tuttle. It is moving more northeasterly now for the Newcastle Casino area. What do you have?
Yes, Mike, I just went past the casino. I'm cutting through Newcastle now, trying to get in a position where I can at least see something out of this rain. I've been fighting the rain and the hail. Had to come all the way around through the core and punch through it and get onto what I'm hoping is the backside where I can see some storm definition to whether or not this thing is still in contact with the ground. But in these situations, it's better to play safe than sorry and just think that it is, especially when it's radar indicated with such a pronounced...
I've got to talk to John Welsh. John Welsh? John Welsh, can you hear me? John Welsh.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Okay, listen to me.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Southwest Norman. The new cycle is increasing fast. Southwest Norman. This is going to be located just north of Highway 9 at Newcastle Highway, southbound. What do you see right there? Let's take your chopper shot.
Yeah,
South Newcastle. The new cycle is coming up fast. This could be bad for Norman, and it may not take that much time. What do you have right there? Norman.
There it is, Mike. It's right in the top of the screen. You can see it. There's definitely some rotation here, and the rain in that particular area has lightened up a lot. But like you said, it's going to be bad if that does come through here because it's going to come pretty much track almost over Max Westheimer here. We're getting some lifting from the scud, as you can see right there. The rain is continuing to lighten up, and I really can't even see the other the tornado anymore due to all the rain. But this could be the next show in town here, Mike.
I think that this might be on the ground here. It's going to be just east of our South Doppler radar. John, I'd like for you to get over there. Let's let Emily and Hank and Dillard handle the weakening tornado. Folks, there's no doubt about it. It's weakening. Okay, this is important, very important. I'm not saying it's going to go away completely, but it is weakening, and a cycle is rapidly occurring. The tornado in southeast Tuttle is rapidly weakening. It may or may not go away. Cleveland County, McLean County, you're under a tornado warning. That's the bottom line. That has not changed, and it won't change. You're under a tornado warning. The new cycle is rapidly forming. This is bad potentially for Norman, and it's going to happen pretty fast. Said Dillard? Let's go to Mark Dillard. Go, Mark Dillard.
Mike.
Yes.
Yes, Mike. I've got wrapping curtains. I'm at the Doppler. I'm at the South Doppler, and I've got tree debris and wrapping curtains coming over the top of me right now. It's going to be off to our north and east, heading into Norman now, Mike.
I think it's a tornado on the ground. I've got it too, Mark. I'm with you. There is a tornado now on the ground just to the northeast of our South Doppler radar, and it is heading into Norman. You folks in Norman, immediate tornado precautions. You need to go to that safe room, interior closet or bathroom at the very least. And that we're serious about that. Safe room, storm cellar, basement. Norman, this is bad. It's on the ground and it's spinning up fast. Look at the hook. Let's go to the South Doppler radar, actual radar. It almost hit it. Here it is right here. There's the radar. It went right over it. So here's Norman. Here's Robinson. Here's Rock Creek. Here's the river. The tornado is on the ground right here. Look at there's a spiral band there, spiral band there. That's about a quarter-mile wide tornado on the ground, 1.5 miles southwest of the river. Robinson, Main, and Rock Creek roads. You folks in West Norman, this is it right now. Please, safest place you know, preferably storm cellar, basement. Safest place you know. If you have one across the street, go there right now. Stream it on your phone. Take your radio or your battery-operated television set. Go there right now. Don't delay. Don't waste time. Do it, please, now. Norman. West Norman, at least. At least West Norman. Go, Mark Dillard.
Yes, Mike. I'm trying to get caught up to it, and it's going to be on the. It's not where I can tell completely in contact with the ground, but most likely, Mike, it's going to be wrapping curtains, which will be pulling tree limbs and whatnot. I have got to fight a little bit of traffic here, trying to get to Norman. We've got all the roads are starting to get blocked up with traffic as the local law enforcement is trying to block roads, but this thing is changing direction so fast they can't keep up with it. As it's now off in what I'm going to call the little valley there, going off to the west side of Norman. Mike, back to you.
Okay, the chopper's got it. This is let's call this a tornado emergency for Norman. I think it's fair to say. Tornado emergency for Norman. It's on the ground here. Let's go to the South Dop and take a look at the, let's go to, Max 2, okay? Look at that. There, look, wow. Quarter-mile wide plus on the ground. Tornado emergency for Norman, right? Look. The other tornado has lifted. It's gone. The one over southeast Tuttle, it's gone. That's a sigh of relief for Moore, Newcastle, and South Oklahoma City. Maybe large hail, damaging hail, yes. That tornado's lifted. This one is on the ground. Look at the eye. It is a half-mile wide tornado. Look at the hook, and look how fast that formed. Rapid scan. That's what a rapid scan Doppler will do for you right there. Real time. Tornado emergency for Norman. Robinson, Rock Creek, Main Street. It's about to cross the river into densely populated West Norman. Okay? Below ground, storm cellar or basement, away from windows. If you live in a mobile home, get out of it, go to a safe spot. Go. Let's go to the chopper. Chopper live. And we'll talk to Emily too. Chopper shot live. Chopper shot live.
Yeah, I see it.
Yep, we'll take the chopper live. Okay. Go, Emily Sutton.
Mike, the farther north I go, the worse the damage on the turnpike. It looks like some sort of structure was pretty much demolished. Granted, I don't think it was a sturdy one, but yeah, it gets worse the farther north you go. Almost every highway sign has been snapped in half. And we had an overturned semi. Thank goodness the two drivers or the two passengers were safe. We were actually able to speak with them. They're safe.
Come on.
Tree snapped the cast, just damage everywhere. This is, if I had to guess, EF3, EF2, EF3, but, you know, I can't survey the damage right now. But serious stuff, guys. Definitely want to seek shelter if you're in the path of this storm.
Excellent report. Thank you for that. We will check back with you. Emily's on the damage up by the Bailey Turnpike between Bridge Creek and Newcastle. And there's a view of that damage right there. We're going to check back with Emily. Now, tornado emergency for Norman. Let's go to the South Doppler radar. And look at that. It's about 3 blocks wide, the eye. It's about 3 blocks wide. It missed the radar by a couple hundred yards, and it's only a mile northeast of it right now. But the whole thing is about a half a mile wide, and it's got a several block wide eye. We're zoomed so close in here, we're gonna just virtually show you your neighborhood street right here. Rock Creek, Robinson, and Main. Okay, I-35 is not even on this map. It's over here. This is West Norman. This is the river. This is southeast Newcastle. It has an eye. Let's go to Mark Dillard and take the chopper shot full. Tornado emergency for Norman. Go, Mark Dillard.
Yes, Mike. I'm having to work my way down to the casino and then cross back over on I-35. Folks, you got to get to your safe spot. Mike, I've got so much traffic on the road. It's not even funny. We've got law enforcement trying to block the road as much as they can. But off to my north, it's going to be across the river, from what I can tell, Mike. Going to be coming into the west side of Norman in the next couple of minutes here. So folks in Norman, particularly the west side, take your tornado precautions, and even up into Moore, go ahead and be ready to take your tornado precautions right now. It's in the river valley. Mike, back to you.
Oh, let's go to the chopper here full. Tornado emergency for Norman. Main Street coming up at 537. Main Street at the river at 537. Yep. Robinson and Western Avenue at 537. Rock Creek Road. Just past the river at 538. The Riverwind Casino, it's possible. Probably will go just north of there, but not by much. Riverwind Casino, 538. And we're talking about Max Westheimer, 544. Lloyd Noble Center, 545. Norman High School, 546. John, it is on the ground. Looks to be about a quarter to a half a mile wide.
Yeah, it is, Mike. It's a lot easier to hear you explain it on radar, but Travis, if you can just turn the iris down just a little bit right there, and up or turn the master black up just a little bit. I'm looking at it right here, Mike, and it looks like it's going to be Robinson. You take Robinson straight out west, and that's where it is. That's where I'm seeing the rotation right there. It's on the ground. It's going to be south of the river, and I'm right over Bob Moore Farms now, looking out towards the west. We're facing north, and it looks like it's going to come up probably on the west side of Norman, and I'm going to call it probably Robinson at this time, Mike, is where it looks like from our vantage point it's going to cross over.
Yep, you're right on. Okay, the tornado vortex right now. Let's take the south dot. We're going to keep his shot. Again, that's about an F2 tornado going into Norman. Could be F3. Don't want to underplay it. Don't want to overplay it. F2, F3. Right here. And that is clearly the vortex. And look at it. I mean, look at the vortex right there, right? Cone-shaped tornado. It's at Main Street, a mile west of the river. Okay, so here's Main, and here's Robinson, and here's the river, and the tornado is right there. It just passed to the northeast of our South Doppler radar site. Cone-shaped tornado. OU is recommending students to take shelter immediately down on the Norman campus. Yes, tornado emergency for Norman, F2, F3 tornado, about a quarter mile wide, plus or minus a quarter mile wide, heading right into, it's about to cross the river right now. Let's go back to Bob Moore Chopper for looking at it live for Norman.
Yeah, Mike, as you can see, it's fixing to cross the river. Luckily, right in this particular area, there's not a lot of homes or buildings right here. It's going to cross the river, and then it's going to come into the southwest sides of Moore here, or I'm sorry, of Norman here, like around 60th. I think there's a few housing additions. That's really kind of where they start on the southwest side of town. So it appears at this time it's going to track right up the valley, stay in the kind of the low area right there along the river, and then probably somewhere about 60th and Main. If I had to pinpoint, I would call within a mile of that area, if it stays on its current track, is probably about where it's going to track as it continues to head to the northeast here. It's almost hard to see because we're kind of losing it with the definition here, Mike.
Okay, appreciate that. This is a tornado emergency for Norman, still on the ground. And you folks in especially the Main Street and Robinson Street up to maybe Rock Creek. Maybe up to Rock Creek. Let's go back to Mark Dillard. Mark, it's a cone-shaped tornado on the ground. What do you have? Let's go to Max 2, control room.
Crossing the river on I-35, getting back in position in front of it. I'm passing Lindsay right now. I can see the wall cloud itself. I cannot make out the tornado per se, but if the chopper's got it, you've got it on radar, it's there. I'm going to be in position as soon as I can. Hopefully, I can make this traffic here and get up to Maine and set up in front of it. And folks, if you're in Norman, you have plans to go to Norman, forget it. There should be no traffic coming south on I-35, south of Moore for sure, and probably really south of 240, Mike. They need to go ahead and prepare the I-35 corridor for a shutdown situation and a crossing. Mike, I'm going to try to get out ahead of it as quick as I can. I'll be right back with you. Back to you.
Looks like it's a high-end F2, low-end F3 from here, just looking at the velocities. And it's not going very fast. I mean, look at what an incredible presentation this is, but it really gives you an idea. This is a 15-minute rapid scan loop. And look how it's kind of wobbling back and forth, but also look how it has an eye, and then the band around the eye is about a quarter to nearly a half a mile wide. You're looking inside the hook. Here's the hook right here, so you're actually inside the hook. But here are the neighborhoods. Here's West Main. Here's I-35 at Robinson right here. So we're talking about Robinson, Maine, out around, well, let's go to John Welsh, Bob Moore, Chopper 4, because he's looking right at it. It's about to cross the river right now, John.
Yeah, it is, Mike. It looks, as soon as it crosses the river, it's going to come on West 72nd Street here and about Robinson, or it might come to Main Street. You know, Main Street doesn't go out to 72nd. However, it's right along that line, kind of right there on the river. And if it does continue to stay in contact with the ground and continue to come up, it's going to go right over a lot of the houses in this area. There's apartment. There's basically the mile of cars areas everybody knows, and it's going to track, just looks like south of the Embassy Suites, almost just directly towards the airport if it kind of stays on its current track. It's really hard for us to see. We're kind of going zooming in and out as the light changes and the definition of it actually weakens a little bit maybe. It was pretty easy to see early on because it was a lot more defined. At this time, it's harder to see. However, as we have known, when it comes in, starts picking up debris and stuff, it makes it a whole lot easier to see. Let's hope that doesn't happen, but we'll continue to stay here and follow it, Mike.
Okay, appreciate that, John Welsh. It is now crossing the river, coming into West Norman right now. Let's go back to Max 2. And let's hope that it lifts, but you see clearly right there, it's crossing the river right now. Let's go back over to Mark Dillard. Mark, do you have a visual on it currently?
Yes, Mike, I do. I believe I can make out the definition on what would be the southern side of the wedge here. It's going to be that darkest part. Zoom in just a little bit. As I'm coming toward these traffic lights, you're probably going to lose it here. But it's going to be that darkest part just to the south side here. I've got a cloud on the front. The collar cloud is wrapping from south to north around it. So it's most definitely got a tornado signature to it on radar and on the ground from the helicopter. They're blowing the sirens at Norman right now. I urge people on the west side of Norman over to the I-35 corridor and then east. You've got a little bit of time now, but you don't have much. West Norman undercover now. Mike, I'm at 36 and Maine. I'm going north. I'll try to cut it off, get ahead of it a little bit, but it's coming into West Norman right now. We need folks in their tornado shelter right now. That's the bottom line. Back to you, Mike.
Okay, appreciate that, Mark. Okay, so the tornado earlier up by Tuttle has lifted. There's no tornado going into Moore at all. It is lifted. That tornado is 100% totally gone and will not come back up here in Moore. But there is some big hail. It cycled, and now the new tornado is now coming into West Norman. It just crossed the river. And so you folks in Moore, other than some large hail from downtown south, that's going to be the severe weather you're going to experience. Norman is a completely different story. Let's go over to Bob Moore Chopper 4 with John Welsh and take a live view. Now, it's actually in West Norman right now. What do you have, John?
Yeah, Mike, it's really hard for us to see. I was trying to break away from it here. Let me get set up here. It's hard to define exactly where it is on the ground. If we had to guess, Obviously, we would say north of Maine, and about somewhere around Robinson, maybe even just a little bit north of Robinson here. That's kind of where we lost it at. That's where there's still a lot of heavy rain coming in there. But it is not a complete funnel all the way to the ground, so it kind of makes it hard at this altitude for us to be able to see exactly where it is until it starts to kind of pick up something or give us something to differentiate the obviously the clouds from the actual funnel there, Mike.
This is still Emily. She's on.
Okay. Let's go ahead and go to the north dock, and it's going to come into the neighborhoods here between Robinson and Maine. Maine up to Robinson, could go up to Rock Creek. Here's I-35. This is West Norman. It's just now crossing the river. It's coming into West Norman right now. So it doesn't appear to be a 4 or a 5. It looks to be maybe a 2 or so, but that could go up. It could go down. Let's go back over to the live chopper view, and let's talk to Mark Dillard here. Mark, what do you have?
Yes, Mike. The area I'm at, I do not have anything really in contact with the ground that I can make out. I do have an area of lowering here. I do have an area of a rapid rotation off to my west. It's going to be west, kind of southwest. I'm on 60th now. Just coming up north from Main Street. There's a funnel in there wrapped up in rain, but I can't tell if it's in contact with the ground, Mike. Let me get parked here and get you a good shot. Although it is coming into the west side of Norman, basically down in the river valley where there's a lot of hay farms down here, sod farms. That's where it's at. Back to you.
Okay, Mark, appreciate that. Let's go to Emily Sutton. She's been in the damage from the earlier tornado. Let's get an update from Emily. Emily, what do you have?
Hi, Mike. We are heading east on the spur, heading towards I-35, and I think we may be getting into position if the rain backs off a little bit to maybe see something eventually. But, Mike, it was discouraging. We had a swath, I'd say 1.5 miles to 2 miles long of damage, and I counted at least a dozen cars impacted. We had possibly up to EF3 damage because a few structures were completely obliterated. Granted, I think they were weaker farm-like structures, but almost all the highway signs were snapped in half. Thank goodness all the people we encountered where their cars took a direct hit to the tornado. Thank goodness they are safe. But we saw some other cars completely in a ditch, another 18-wheeler caught off in a ditch as well, and of course huge trees. And it even had parts of, I would say the tolls were actually impacted. They're going to have some damage repair there. Lots of big trucks, too, caught in the storm.
Okay, Emily, appreciate that report. That's the damage from the earlier tornado. Let's go to Max 2, and that tornado has lifted. There's no tornado in southeast Newcastle near Bridge Creek or the Bailey or more. No tornado. It is 100% gone away. Meanwhile, we have the tornado continuing now. It's on Robinson at, it looks like at about Western Avenue. Western and Robinson. Tornado continues on the ground at Western and Robinson in Norman right now. Tornado emergency continues for Norman. So you folks in Norman, that tornado safety precaution, keep doing that. Storm cellar, basement, interior closet, or bathroom, yes, at least. Storm cellar, basement, safe room, best. Let's go back to Bob Moore, Chopper 4. Go, John.
Yeah, Mike, right now it's got to be right in here in this area because as we come and show you, that water tower, I believe, is right there on Rock Creek. And so we're showing you about 2 miles wide here as we shoot off towards the west. We're facing south. And you can see that storm coming in. And if you look in the clouds right there about the left side of the screen, funnel that is kind of came down, but it's not complete to the ground. So that's what's kind of made it hard to see, and the rain has been covering it up. However, it's making it a little easier to see as Travis pushes in there. We'll be able to adjust the light here in just a second, give it just a little bit more definition. One of the things we have been looking for on the ground is power flashes, as it appears it's crossed probably 60th Street coming into 48th Street West here, just going to be just north of Lindsay here. As it continues to track towards the east, it looks like if it stays on its current track, it's going to be just north of the Sooner Mall. It's going to come and hit just the south side of the Mila cars there and cross the Lowe's, as everybody's familiar with, kind of north of the Walmart area there on I-35. It still appears to be probably 2 miles west of I-35, as you can kind of see. Travis, go back to your left just a little bit. right there. You can kind of see it looks like it's on. Where it has came, we're not seeing power flashes, and I'm actually still seeing some street lights and lamps behind it. Doesn't mean that it's not on the ground. It just means that it might not be strong enough to start snapping all these lines here. So as it continues to come, it's about a mile west of I, just north of the Sooner Mall here, and head right for basically.
John, go ahead and push in. Go ahead and push in down there into those wrapping rain curtains. And let's see what you have. It looks like it's on the northern side of Robinson at Western Avenue, and it is still on the ground. It looks like it's about an F2. It looks like it's about an F2 just on the northern side of Robinson at Western Avenue in those neighborhoods. If we can, let's go back to Mark Dillard with an update. Yes, Mark is tracking it as well. I think it's about an F2, maybe a high-end F1, but that could go either way. Just looking at the velocities here, just north of Robinson at Western Avenue on the ground in West Norman. What do you have, Mark?
Yes, Mike, I've got curtains that are wrapping into it now. My winds, I just cut right in front of it. I've got lifting rain, wrapping rain curtains now. I'm on 48, just back north of Maine now. I just went through Robinson, came south, right ahead of it. It's as John said, it's not popping lines or transformers right now, so the intensity may not be that great here at the ground level. It's just a wrapping curtain situation. It's the Arbor Lake addition now crossing over 48 over toward Robinson, and as he said, it should go just to the north of the mall area here in West Norman. I'm passing Manor Hill in 48, and it's off to my north and east now. It has cleared 48, and it's off to my north and east. Mike, back to you.
Okay, so what we have is the earlier tornado, which was quite large. That one has totally gone away. The storm cycled, and a new tornado formed rapidly down in South Newcastle and has come across into West Norman. It looks like it might be about an F1 right now. We don't see any popping power lines, but it does appear to be still on the ground at about Western Avenue on the northern side of Robinson Avenue, but it looks like it might be about an F1, which will be a pretty weak tornado. That would be really good news. But a tornado warning still very much continues for Norman. It looks like it will likely go just north of the Norman campus and up toward Max to Westheimer. Let's go back to Bob Moore, Chopper 4 here live. John?
Yeah, Mike, we're making a turn here, and for Western is actually 60th Street here in Norman, if everybody's kind of familiar with that area. So Western and same street, and we kind of made a turn here. We're shooting back towards it, and that's going to be like 1 mile or so east of the river right there. So it's going to be starting to get in the populated area. The scud or something that we were shooting that I kind of thought that could have been the tornado earlier is now over the mall areas. Travis kind of shoots back in there. There's actually a little bit of lowering in front of it. However, at this time, like I said, we're not seeing any power flashes, and we have not seen a clear definition, though, Mike.
Okay, it looks like it's going to go right over Max to Westheimer, I-35. They're shutting it down. So it's back here in the rain. John, let's look for some power flashes. We can take Max 1, too. Here's a view from Max to Westheimer, Max 1. And there's the feeder band coming in. The tornado's back in here. It's right there. There it is right there. That's a view from Max to Westheimer. So there's the tornado right back in there. Let's go back to the chopper. So, John, you have not seen any power flashes back in that rain. Is that correct? Again, coming right into Max Westheimer. Yeah. It's about a half mile west of I-35 right now. What do you see in that exact location?
Yeah, that is correct. Right now, I'm just seeing neighborhoods still with their lights on. We're seeing, as Travis is showing you right there, the definition from the top of it. And it looks like if it stays on its current track, it's going to go right just south of the Embassy Suites. There at the, they built all those stores there, the Academy and other stores there just on the east side of I-35. It appears it's going to track just right along there. And behind the storm, or behind the area we're talking about, what I can see is still lights that are turned on. So we haven't seen any complete blackout. So, sometimes you might miss the power flash, but you wouldn't miss the block of lights behind it. And all the lights have been coming on as it's getting dark.
Okay, it's at 48th between Robinson and Rock Creek. 48th now between Robinson and Rock Creek is where the tornado is right now. 48th between... Go to Mark. Go to Mark Dillard. Go Mark Dillard.
Yes, Mike. I think it's starting to ramp up a little bit. I'm turning now. I've got more of a more well-defined lowering or funnel area. I'm going to be on 30. Just one moment, Mike. I'm going to be on coming off of Robinson at 36 now, and it looks like it's ramping up, Mike. I've got my winds picking up. I've got wrapping curtains going into it. It's going to be just to my north here, back toward Rock Creek. Folks on now North Norman, South Moore, heads up. This is your time to take your tornado precautions. Bottom line, we've had an intermittent tornado on the ground here coming through the south side of the metro in Norman and Moore. Now, Mike, I've got a large American flag that it's almost a full span here. Go as this might have had a power flash. Mike.
Yeah, it's in between 36th mark and 48th on the northern side of Rock Creek, and it is on the ground. It's about an F1. Power flashes. We're talking about Victoria Road, Chelsea Drive, Kent Street, Sloan Street, Dolores Drive, H.E. Black Drive. So it's on the northern side of Rock Creek and just south of Tecumseh Road. So it's lifting a little more to the north. It's going to go over central and northern Max Westheimer Airport. It is on the ground in those neighborhoods right now. Probably an F1, Mark.
Yeah, you're looking at it right now, Mike. I've got debris lifting out toward me and past me now on 36. I've got a lot of tree damage. I've got debris blowing in toward the tornado. This is going to be heading toward the water tower on the north side of Rock Creek. Power flash, large power flashes. This fit, Mike, coming to the ground right now. This fit, folks, you got to be ready for it. Mike's getting big. I got trees coming down on me and power flashes. I got to back out of here. I got trees coming down on me.
Wow.
Back it out, Mike. Back it out.
Mark Dillard is in at least an F1 tornado right now. It's just to the south. It's in North Norman right now. At least F1, might be an F2. And let's go back to Mark Dillard's stream. He's in the tornado right now in Norman. Go, Mark.
Yeah, power flashes. I've got power flashes in front of me. It is really cranking down, folks. I got tree damage. It is coming down right on top of us here. I'm just to the north of Rock Creek and on 36 here in West Norman. Got a lot of power flashes going toward the I-35 corridor now, over toward the airport on the north side of Max Westheimer. And it is a maelstrom out here, Mike. Whoa, hang on. It's back. Mike, it is trying to move the car on me here. It is bad news.
Yeah,
it's really
you're definitely in it.
Ground, Mike.
It's going to cross I-35 at Tecumseh Road, and it's going to do so in about 15 to 20 seconds. Mark Dillard, let's just hope he's safe here, because he's actually in here about an F1, maybe a weak F2. Inside of it, this is in North Norman. It's gone through the neighborhoods in North Norman. Obviously, there is damage, and he is actually in the tornado here itself in his storm tracking vehicle. You're looking at it live here from on the west side of I-35 at Tecumseh Road is where that vortex in about 15, 20, 30 seconds is going to cross Interstate 35 on the northern edge of Max Westheimer Airport, not too far south of the old York plant. So a little way south of South Moore. It's going through North Norman. Go, Mark Dillard.
Yes, Mike, it is cranking down